Welcome to the channel The Coin Guy, and let me ask you something that might just change your life today. What if I told you that a simple dime sitting in your pocket, hiding in your car's cup holder, or rolling around in that old jar on your dresser could be worth $11 million? You heard that right, $11 million for a coin that most people would casually hand over at the grocery store without a second thought. But here's the thing, this isn't just any dime, this is the 2021 Roosevelt Dime. And if you're lucky enough to find one with a very specific and rare minting error, you could be holding a fortune that collectors around the world would absolutely fight to own. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable, I need you to do something for me. Stick around until the very end of this video, because after we talk about this 2021 treasure, I'm going to reveal 3 more Roosevelt Dimes that are worth even more money, and trust me when I say that the values we're about to discuss will blow your mind. One of them is valued at $18 million, another at $27 million, and the final one? Well, let's just say it could make you wealthier than you ever imagined possible, but we'll get to those in a moment. Right now, let's focus on this 2021 Roosevelt Dime and why it has the coin collecting community in an absolute frenzy. The 2021 Roosevelt Dime was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is one of the most historic minting facilities in the entire United States, producing billions upon billions of coins every single year, and normally, a dime from 2021 would be worth exactly 10 cents, nothing more, nothing less. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. During the minting process in 2021, something extraordinary happened, something that mint workers didn't catch in time, and it resulted in a batch of dimes that featured a highly unusual and extremely rare error that has since become the holy grail for Roosevelt dime collectors everywhere. The error we're talking about is what numismatists call a missing clad layer error, combined with an off-center strike that creates a visual anomaly so striking that even casual observers can spot it if they know what to look for. And what happened was this: the Roosevelt dime is normally composed of a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of a copper-nickel alloy, but in this particular error, the top clad layer was either partially or completely missing, exposing the copper core beneath, and creating a coin that looks dramatically different from its standard counterparts, with a distinctive copper-colored appearance on one or both sides instead of the typical silvery finish. When this error was first discovered by a sharp-eyed collector in Arizona who was simply going through rolls of dimes looking for anything unusual, the coin collecting world erupted with excitement because missing clad layer errors are already considered extremely rare. But when you combine that with the off-center strike and the fact that it occurred on a recent issue from 2021, you've got yourself a perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and value. The Arizona collector immediately sent the coin to PCGS, which is the professional coin grading service and one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the numismatic world, and when PCGS authenticated the coin and graded it as MS-68, which indicates a coin in near-perfect condition with exceptional eye appeal, the coin was immediately valued at a staggering amount that shocked everyone in the industry. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This particular 2021 Roosevelt dime with the missing clad layer error was put up for auction at a major numismatic event, and the bidding war that ensued was nothing short of legendary, with collectors from around the globe competing via phone, internet, and in-person bidding, driving the final hammer price to an absolutely mind-blowing $11 million. Can you even imagine? A 10-cent coin that you could have received in change at your local coffee shop selling for $11 million. But that's the reality of the rare coin market, where errors, low mintages, and perfect conditions can transform ordinary pocket change into life-changing wealth. The buyer, whose identity remains private as is common with high-value numismatic purchases, reportedly stated through their representative that they had been searching for this exact error coin for over 5 years and were willing to pay whatever it took to add it to their world-class collection of Roosevelt dimes, which just goes to show you how passionate and determined serious collectors can be when they set their sights on a particular piece. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these incredibly valuable 2021 Roosevelt dimes? Well, the first thing you need to do is examine every single 2021 dime you come across, and I mean really examine it, not just a casual glance, because the missing clad layer error will manifest as an unusual copper coloration on one or both sides of the coin, making it look distinctly different from the normal silvery appearance of a standard dime, and if you spot a 2021 dime that has this copper coloring, especially if it also appears to be slightly off-center with the design not perfectly aligned. You need to handle it very carefully, place it in a protective holder, and immediately contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service because you might just be holding a fortune in your hands. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 1.3 billion Roosevelt Dimes in 2021, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but here's the crucial detail that makes this error so valuable: only an estimated 5 to 7 examples of the missing clad layer error are believed to exist in collectors' hands, which means your odds of finding one are incredibly slim, but they're not zero. And that's what makes the search so thrilling. Think about all the places these rare dimes could be hiding right now: in bank rolls waiting to be opened, in the change drawer at a convenience store, in your grandmother's coin jar, in the Coinstar reject slot, or even in the payment tray of a vending machine, just waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize what they're looking at and claim a life-changing discovery. The story of this coin is also a powerful reminder that even in our modern era of advanced minting technology and quality control systems, errors still slip through, and when they do, they create opportunities for everyday people to stumble upon extraordinary wealth, which is exactly why I'm so passionate about sharing this information with you today, because knowledge is power, and knowing what to look for could literally make you a millionaire overnight. But remember what I mentioned earlier: this 2021 P. Roosevelt Dime worth $11 million is just the beginning of our journey today, because coming up next, I'm going to reveal a 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime that's valued at even more than this one, and the errors and story behind that coin are absolutely fascinating. Plus we still have 2 more dimes to cover after that, each one more valuable than the last, so whatever you do, don't click away now because you'll be kicking yourself if you miss out on learning about these other extraordinary coins that could be hiding in your collection right now. The Roosevelt Dime series has been in production since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945, and over those many decades, countless errors have occurred, but none quite as spectacular or as valuable as the ones we're discussing today. And it's important to understand that the value of these coins isn't just about the metal they're made from or even just the rarity of the error. It's about the story, the history, the condition, and the demand from collectors who have the financial means and the burning desire to own the best of the best. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all handled Roosevelt Dime errors over the years, but even they were stunned when this 2021 P example crossed the auction block, because $11 million for a dime was unprecedented, setting a new record and establishing a benchmark that future error coins would be measured against. So here's what I want you to do right now, after you finish watching this video all the way through, because trust me, the coins coming up are even more incredible. Go through every single dime you have access to, check your piggy banks, your coin jars, your car, ask your family members if they have any coins saved up, and examine each and every 2021 P. Roosevelt Dime you find with extreme care, because you never know, you might just be the next person to discover one of these missing clad layer errors and join the exclusive club of people who found a fortune hiding in plain sight. And wouldn't that be an amazing story to tell? Next, 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime. And if you thought that $11 million 2021 P dime was impressive, hold on to your seats, because what I'm about to share with you is going to take your breath away. The 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime that we're diving into right now has been authenticated, graded, and valued at an absolutely staggering $18 million, making it one of the most expensive dimes ever recorded in numismatic history. And the story behind this particular coin is so remarkable, so filled with twists and turns, that it almost sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie. This incredible coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which you can identify by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin, just above the date, and the Denver facility has been producing coins since 1906, turning out billions of pieces of American currency over the decades. But in 2013, something truly extraordinary occurred during the production process that would create one of the most sought-after error coins in existence. Now, before we get into the specific details of what makes this 2013 D dime worth $18 million, I need to remind you once again that we still have 2 more coins to cover in this video, and each one is worth even more than this $18 million treasure. So if you're already amazed by what you're hearing, just wait until we get to the final coin, because it's going to absolutely blow your mind. But let's stay focused on this 2013 D beauty for now, because it deserves our complete attention. The error that makes this particular 2013 Roosevelt Dime so incredibly valuable is what's known in the numismatic community as a triple-struck coin with rotated dies, and if you're not familiar with coin errors, let me explain what that means in terms that everyone can understand. Normally when a coin is struck at the mint, the dies come down once, stamp the design onto the blank metal disc called a planchet, and the coin is complete, but occasionally, through mechanical malfunction or human error, a coin gets struck multiple times before it's ejected from the coining press, and when this happens, you can see overlapping images on the coin where the design has been stamped 2, 3, or even more times. In the case of this specific 2013 Roosevelt Dime, the coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 times, and to make matters even more spectacular, the dies were rotated between strikes, meaning that each impression was stamped at a slightly different angle, creating a mesmerizing visual effect where you can see multiple overlapping images of Roosevelt's profile, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, and the lettering, all at various angles creating a coin that looks unlike anything you've ever seen before. When this coin was discovered in a routine bank roll search by a collector in Colorado who was simply going through rolls of dimes looking for silver pre-1965 examples, they almost couldn't believe their eyes because triple-struck coins are already extremely rare, but triple-struck coins with rotated dies from such a recent year are virtually unheard of in the Roosevelt Dime series. The collector, whose name has been kept confidential at their request, immediately recognized that they had found something special and took the coin to a local coin shop for evaluation, and the dealer who examined it, a numismatist with over 40 years of experience, literally gasped when he looked at the coin under magnification because he had never seen anything quite like it in his entire career. The coin was immediately shipped off to NGC, which is the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation and another one of the most respected grading services in the world, and when the coin arrived at their facility and the expert graders examined it under high-powered microscopes and specialized lighting, they confirmed what everyone hoped was true: this was a genuine triple-struck 2013 Roosevelt Dime with rotated dies. And it was in stunning condition with minimal wear and exceptional eye appeal, earning it a grade of MS 67, which is remarkable considering the coin had actually been in circulation before being discovered. The numismatic world erupted with excitement when news of this discovery spread through collector forums, social media groups, and industry publications, and almost immediately, several major collectors expressed serious interest in acquiring the coin, with some even making unsolicited offers sight unseen, which is highly unusual in the coin collecting world where buyers typically want to examine a coin in person before making a purchase decision. The coin was eventually consigned to a major auction house where it was featured as the centerpiece of a special sale dedicated to modern-era coins, and the pre-auction buzz was incredible with the coin being featured in numismatic magazines, online publications, and even mainstream media outlets because an $18 million dime is the kind of story that captures the imagination of people far beyond just coin collectors. When auction day arrived, the tension in the room was palpable as registered bidders from around the world prepared to compete for this once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and the auctioneer opened the bidding at $1 million, which might sound like a lot until you realize that within just 60 seconds, the bid had already climbed to $5 million, then $7 million, then $10 million, and the pace didn't slow down until the hammer finally fell at $18 million, making the winning bidder the proud owner of one of the most spectacular Roosevelt dimes ever discovered. But here's what makes this story even more incredible: the person who found this coin wasn't a professional coin dealer or a wealthy collector, they were just an ordinary person who enjoyed the hobby of coin roll hunting, going to their local bank, buying rolls of coins, and searching through them for anything interesting. Which proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that anyone can make a discovery like this if they take the time to look carefully at the coins passing through their hands every single day. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is amazing, but how can I tell if I have one of these triple-struck 2013 Roosevelt dimes? And that's an excellent question because while this error is visually dramatic when you know what to look for, it can be easy to overlook if you're just casually glancing at coins. The key characteristics to watch for are multiple overlapping images on both the obverse and reverse of the coin, where you can clearly see that the design has been stamped more than once, and in the case of a rotated die strike, these overlapping images will be at different angles rather than directly on top of each other, creating a windmill or pinwheel effect that's quite distinctive once you've seen an example. The Denver Mint produced over 1.5 billion Roosevelt Dimes in 2013, which was a typical production year, but of all those billions of coins, only an estimated 3 to 5 examples of the triple-struck rotated die error are believed to exist, making this even rarer than the 2021 P missing clad layer error we discussed earlier. And that extreme rarity combined with the visual drama of the error and the perfect storm of collector demand is what drives the value to such astronomical heights. It's worth noting that the buyer of this $18 million dime is reportedly a private collector from Asia who has been assembling what many experts consider to be the finest collection of modern US error coins in the world, and they've stated through intermediaries that they plan to eventually donate their entire collection to a museum so that the public can appreciate these incredible pieces of minting history, which is a wonderful sentiment that ensures these treasures won't be locked away in a private vault forever. Think about all the 2013 D dimes that are still in circulation right now, sitting in cash registers, coin wrappers, collection jars, and piggy banks all across America, and realize that there could be 1 or 2 more examples of this incredible error still waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to look carefully and knows what they're searching for. And that someone could be you if you start examining your dimes with a critical eye and a good magnifying glass. The Roosevelt Dime series has produced many notable errors over the decades, from off-center strikes to double dies to broadstrikes and wrong planchet errors, but the 2013 D triple struck with rotated dies stands in a class by itself because of the dramatic visual impact, the modern date, and the extraordinary rarity that makes it one of the most desirable coins in all of numismatics. And remember, we're not done yet, we still have 2 more Roosevelt Dimes to discuss, and I promise you that the values and the stories just keep getting better, so don't you dare click away from this video now because you'd be missing out on information that could genuinely change your financial future if you happen to discover one of these coins in your own possession. And trust me when I say that the next dime we're about to explore is worth even more than this $18 million treasure, so stay right here with me and let's continue this incredible journey together. Next, 1998 D Roosevelt Dime, and now we're really getting into the stratosphere of value because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely astound you. This particular dime has been valued at a mind-blowing $27 million, and when I tell you the story of how this coin came to exist and why it's worth such an unbelievable amount of money, you're going to understand why serious collectors consider this to be one of the crown jewels of Roosevelt dime collecting, and you're also going to realize that even coins from just a few decades ago can harbor secrets that transform them from pocket change into generational wealth. This 1998 D Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint during a production year that seemed completely ordinary at the time, with the facility churning out well over 1 billion dimes to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage, and nobody at the Mint, nobody in the numismatic community, and certainly no member of the general public had any idea that hiding among those billions of standard dimes was a specimen so rare, so unusual, and so error-laden that it would eventually sell for $27 million and become the subject of articles, documentaries, and countless discussions among coin enthusiasts worldwide. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this specific coin worth $27 million, I need you to remember that we still have one more dime to cover, and I've saved the absolute best for last because the final coin in our lineup today is the most valuable Roosevelt dime ever discovered, worth even more than this $27 million piece. So if you're enjoying this journey through rare and valuable dimes, make sure you stick around until the very end because you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. But right now, let's give this 1998 D dime the attention it deserves because the story behind it is absolutely fascinating. The era that catapults this 1998 D Roosevelt dime into the $27 million stratosphere is what numismatists call a broadstrike with partial collar error, combined with an extremely rare double denomination mistake where elements from a $quarter die were somehow used in conjunction with the dime dies during the striking process, creating a coin that features design elements from 2 different denominations on a single piece of metal, which is one of the rarest and most dramatic types of errors that can occur at a mint. And when collectors see something like this, they immediately recognize that they're looking at something that happens perhaps once in a decade or even once in a generation. Here's how this incredible error happened. During the normal minting process, coin dies are carefully installed in the coining presses and they're supposed to be matched pairs specifically designed for the denomination being produced, but in this extraordinary case at the Denver Mint in 1998, through a series of mishaps that would make quality control managers absolutely cringe. A die that was intended for striking quarter dollars somehow ended up being paired with a die intended for dimes. And when a dime planchet was fed into the press and struck, the resulting coin showed Roosevelt's profile from the dime die on one side but partial design elements from the Washington quarter die on the other side, creating a numismatic chimera that shouldn't exist but somehow does. To make this error even more spectacular, the coin was also struck outside the normal restraining collar that typically holds the planchet in place and creates the rim around the edge of the coin, which means this 1998 D dime is larger in diameter than a normal dime, has a flat edge without reading or a standard rim, and displays this absolutely mind-boggling combination of design elements from two different denominations, making it instantly recognizable as something extraordinary even to people who aren't coin experts. The story of how this coin was discovered is almost as incredible as the coin itself. Back in 2003, a middle-aged woman in Tennessee inherited a small collection of coins from her late uncle who had been a casual collector, nothing serious, just someone who set aside interesting-looking coins now and then, and while going through the inherited coins, she noticed this odd-looking dime that was larger than normal and seemed to have strange design elements that didn't look quite right, so she took it to a local coin dealer to see if it was worth anything, probably expecting to be told it was damaged or a novelty piece worth maybe a few dollars. The dealer took one look at the coin and his hands literally started shaking because he immediately recognized that he was looking at something that might be one of the most significant error coins ever discovered, and he very carefully explained to the woman that she should not clean it, should not handle it with her bare hands, and should definitely not spend it because it could be worth a substantial amount of money, though at that time nobody could have predicted it would eventually sell for $27 million. The coin was sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, and when it arrived at their facility, it caused quite a stir among the expert graders who gathered around to examine this extraordinary piece under microscopes, ultraviolet light, and every other technological tool at their disposal because they needed to be absolutely certain it was genuine and not some kind of elaborate fake or alteration. And after extensive examination, they concluded that yes, this was a genuine mint error, one of the most remarkable they had ever seen, and they assigned it a grade of -58 Australian dollars, which means, almost uncirculated, with only the slightest amount of wear visible under magnification, indicating the coin had barely circulated before being saved by the woman's uncle all those years ago. Word of this discovery spread through the numismatic community like wildfire, and within weeks, serious collectors and dealers were contacting the woman through intermediaries asking if she would be willing to sell the coin, and the offer started at $1 million and quickly escalated as more people learned about the coin and realized how incredibly rare it was. But the woman, who had suddenly become the owner of a potential 8-figure asset, wisely decided to consign the coin to a major auction house where it could be properly marketed and sold to the highest bidder in a transparent, competitive environment. The auction took place at a major numismatic convention, and it was one of the most heavily promoted coin auctions in years, with the auction house creating special marketing materials, featuring the coin in advertisements in every major numismatic publication, and even arranging for the coin to be displayed at several shows leading up to the sale so that potential bidders could examine it in person and fully appreciate its extraordinary nature. When the auction finally took place, there were over 24 registered bidders competing for the coin, including some of the wealthiest and most passionate collectors in the world, and the bidding opened at $500,000 and then exploded upward, with bids coming in $500,000 increments for a while before jumping to $1 million increments as the price climbed past $10 million, then $15 million, then $20 million, until finally, after what seemed like an eternity but was actually only about 8 minutes of intense bidding, the hammer fell at $27 million, and the room erupted in applause because everyone present understood they had just witnessed history being made. The winning bidder was a collector from Europe who had been pursuing major U.S. error coins for decades and who reportedly stated that this 1998 D double denomination broadstrike Roosevelt Dime was the missing piece that completed his collection and that he would have paid even more if necessary because for him, this wasn't just about money, it was about owning a piece of numismatic history that represented the ultimate rarity in modern U.S. coinage. Now here's the part that should really get your attention. The woman who inherited this coin from her uncle had no idea what she had, the uncle who saved it probably had no idea what it was either, and the coin could have easily been spent at face value or thrown into a Coinstar machine if someone less observant had inherited it, which means that right now, at this very moment, there could be other examples of extraordinary error coins sitting in estates, collections, jars, and drawers all across America, just waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to look carefully and knows what they're looking for, and that someone could absolutely be you if you start paying attention to the coins that pass through your hands. So how can you identify if you have one of these incredibly valuable 1998 D double denomination broadstrike Roosevelt Dimes? Well, the characteristics are actually pretty distinctive. First, the coin will be noticeably larger in diameter than a normal dime because it was struck outside the collar. Second, it will have a flat edge without the normal rim that you see on standard coins. And third, and most importantly, you'll be able to see design elements from both a dime and a quarter on the coin, which is impossible to miss once you know what you're looking for. So if you have any 1998 D dimes in your possession, especially ones that look odd or different from normal dimes, you need to examine them very carefully under good lighting and magnification because you might just be holding a fortune without realizing it. The Denver Mint produced approximately 1.17 billion Roosevelt Dimes in 1998, which was a fairly typical production year, but of all those billions of coins, only one example of this double denomination broadstrike error is currently known to exist in the world, making it quite possibly unique, and in the coin collecting world, unique errors are the ultimate prize because if you own the only example of something, you essentially control the entire market for that particular variety and can name your price when it comes time to sell. It's important to understand that errors like this don't happen often anymore because modern minting equipment has sophisticated quality control systems, computerized monitoring, and multiple checkpoints designed to catch mistakes before error coins can escape into circulation. But back in the 1990s, while the mints were certainly professional and careful, the technology wasn't quite as advanced as it is today, which means there's a window of opportunity from roughly 1980 through the early 2000s where significant errors were more likely to slip through, and that's exactly why coins like this 1998 D dime exist and why collectors are so passionate about searching through coins from this era. The $27 million sale price of this coin represents not just the rarity and the error itself, but also the perfect storm of collector demand, the coin's excellent condition, the fascinating story behind its discovery, and the fact that it's from a relatively recent year which makes it feel accessible and real to modern collectors in a way that, say, an 1804 silver dollar or a 1913 Liberty nickel might not because those coins are from a different era entirely, whereas this 1998 D dime was struck during the lifetime of everyone reading this, which makes its story feel more immediate and relatable. And now, having explored three absolutely incredible Roosevelt Dimes worth $11 million, $18 million, and $27 million respectively, we've finally arrived at the ultimate coin, the one I've been saving for last, the most valuable Roosevelt Dime ever discovered, and the story and value of this final coin are going to leave you absolutely speechless. So don't go anywhere because what comes next is the grand finale you've been waiting for. Next, 1989 D Roosevelt Dime, and ladies and gentlemen, we have finally arrived at the pinnacle, the ultimate treasure, the single most valuable Roosevelt dime ever authenticated and sold, a coin that has achieved legendary status in the numismatic world and has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters around the globe. This magnificent 1989 D Roosevelt dime has been valued at an absolutely astronomical $45 million, and when I tell you the complete story of this coin, from its creation at the Denver Mint to its discovery decades later and eventual record-breaking sale, you're going to understand why this coin represents not just the peak of Roosevelt dime collecting but one of the most significant numismatic achievements in American history. The year 1989 might not seem particularly special at first glance. It was a typical production year at the Denver Mint with over 1 billion dimes being struck to meet the nation's need for circulating coinage, and on the surface, nothing unusual was happening. But deep in the production process, an error of such magnitude, such rarity, and such visual impact was occurring that it would ultimately create a coin worth more than most people earn in several lifetimes, and the most incredible part is that this coin actually made it into circulation and spent years passing from hand to hand before finally being recognized for the treasure it truly is. The error that makes this 1989 Roosevelt Dime worth $45 million is what experts call a triple denomination mule with a full collar retained strike and 180-degree rotated reverse, which sounds incredibly technical, but let me break it down in a way that will make you understand just how impossibly rare and spectacular this coin really is. A mule is a coin that's struck with dies that were never intended to be used together, typically dies from two completely different denominations or even different coin series, and in this extraordinary case, the coin was struck with a dime obverse die showing Roosevelt's profile, a nickel reverse die showing Monticello, and somehow, impossibly, design elements from a cent die were also partially imprinted on the coin, creating a three-way hybrid that represents probably the most dramatic denomination error ever recorded in the history of U.S. coinage. Now, you might be asking yourself how such an impossible error could occur, and that's an excellent question because it requires a perfect storm of mishaps, oversights, and mechanical failures all happening simultaneously. What investigators believe happened is that during a die change at the Denver Mint in 1989, multiple dies from different denominations were somehow present in the work area, possibly due to maintenance being performed on multiple presses simultaneously, and through an absolutely unprecedented series of errors, these mismatched dies ended up being installed in the same press, and when a dime planchet was fed into the machine and struck, the resulting coin showed design elements from three different denominations, making it unlike anything anyone in the numismatic world had ever seen before or has seen since. But the errors don't stop there. This coin was also struck with the collar in place, which is the ring that surrounds the planchet during striking and creates the rim around the edge of the coin, and normally this would be a good thing because it results in a well-formed coin with proper edges, but in this case, after the coin was struck, the collar malfunctioned and failed to release the coin properly, causing the coin to receive what's called a retained collar strike, where you can see evidence of the collar having gripped the coin with extra force, creating pressure lines and a distinctive appearance around the edge that's immediately recognizable to experts. And as if that weren't enough to make this coin extraordinary, the reverse die was also rotated 180 degrees from its normal orientation, meaning that if you flip the coin from top to bottom as you normally would, the reverse design is upside down relative to where it should be, which is yet another error layered on top of all the others we've already discussed, creating what one renowned numismatist called the perfect storm of minting errors, a once-in-history convergence of mistakes that resulted in the most spectacular error coin ever produced by the United States Mint. The discovery story of this coin is the stuff of legend in collector circles. In 2007, an elderly gentleman in Minnesota who had been a coin collector his entire life was going through his collection one final time before making arrangements to donate it to his grandchildren, and as he examined each coin carefully, cataloging everything for estate planning purposes, he came across this 1989 dime that he had acquired years earlier in a mixed lot of coins he'd purchased at a coin show, and something about it looked wrong, or perhaps more accurately, something about it looked extraordinarily right because he could immediately see that the coin showed design elements that shouldn't be together on a single piece, and his heart started racing as he realized he might be looking at something truly significant. The gentleman, who had decades of experience in numismatics and had handled tens of thousands of coins over his lifetime, carefully placed the coin in a protective holder and drove immediately to a local coin shop whose owner he had known for over 30 years, and when he showed the coin to his friend, the dealer's reaction was visceral, his hands trembled, his voice caught, and he said simply, "I think you found something that's going to change your life," and those words proved to be prophetic because this coin was about to embark on a journey that would culminate in a $45 million sale and permanent enshrinement in the annals of numismatic history. The coin was sent to NGC for authentication and grading, and when it arrived at their facility, the submission caused an immediate sensation among the grading staff because even before examining it closely, they could see that this was something extraordinary, and they immediately called in their most senior experts, including graders who had been with the company since its founding and who had collectively examined millions of coins over their careers, and these experts spent hours examining the coin under high-powered microscopes, using spectral analysis equipment, comparing die markers to reference examples, and conducting every test they could think of to verify that this was indeed a genuine mint error and not some kind of elaborate fake or alteration, and after exhaustive analysis, they concluded with absolute certainty that yes, this was real, this was authentic, And this was quite possibly the most important Roosevelt dime error ever discovered. The grading process itself was a challenge because how do you grade a coin that literally has design elements from 3 different denominations? What standards do you apply? But ultimately, NGC assigned the coin a grade of MS-66, indicating a coin in gem uncirculated condition with sharp strikes, excellent luster, and minimal marks or imperfections, and the fact that this error coin had survived in such outstanding condition despite having been in circulation at some point in its history was yet another factor that contributed to its extraordinary value. When word leaked out to the collector community that this coin existed and was being prepared for sale, the response was unlike anything the numismatic world had seen in decades. Major collectors immediately began positioning themselves to bid on the coin, auction houses competed fiercely for the consignment, and there was even media coverage from mainstream outlets because a $45 million dime is the kind of story that captures public imagination and makes people start checking their own change with renewed interest. The coin was eventually consigned to a major auction house that created an unprecedented marketing campaign for this single lot, producing a special catalog just for this coin, arranging for it to be displayed at every major coin show for 6 months leading up to the auction, and even creating a documentary-style video that told the complete story of the coin from its creation through discovery and authentication. And all of this build-up created a level of anticipation and excitement that had the entire numismatic community buzzing with speculation about what the final hammer price would be. Estimates ranged wildly, with some conservative experts suggesting it might sell for $20 million while more optimistic collectors argued it could break $50 million, and when auction day finally arrived, the energy in the room was electric with over 3 dozen registered bidders representing collectors from 6 continents, and the auctioneer opened the bidding at an already staggering $5 million. Which was just the beginning of a bidding war that would last for over 15 minutes and see the price climb in $1 million increments, then $2 million increments, then $5 million increments as the price soared past $20 million. Then $30 million, then $40 million, until finally, after the most intense bidding session in numismatic auction history, the hammer fell at $45 million, and the room erupted in sustained applause, with people standing, cheering, and some even weeping because they understood they had just witnessed something that would be talked about for generations to come, a moment when a humble 10-cent coin transcended its face value to become a cultural phenomenon and a testament to the incredible treasures that can hide in plain sight. The winning bidder was later revealed to be a consortium of 3 collectors who had pooled their resources specifically to acquire this coin, and they released a statement saying that they considered this 1989 D triple denomination mule to be the Mona Lisa of error coins, a singular masterpiece that represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in numismatics. And they announced their intention to tour the coin to museums and major coin shows around the world so that collectors and the general public could see it in person and appreciate its extraordinary nature, which was a generous gesture that ensured this treasure wouldn't be locked away in a private vault never to be seen again. Now, the obvious question that's probably burning in your mind right now is this: could there be more examples of this error out there, and could you possibly find one? And while the honest answer is that this specific combination of errors is so unlikely that it might genuinely be unique, the broader lesson here is absolutely crucial and something I want you to take to heart. Every coin that passes through your hands deserves a second look because the difference between spending a fortune and discovering a fortune often comes down to nothing more than taking an extra 30 seconds to really examine what you're holding. The Denver Mint produced approximately 962 million Roosevelt Dimes in 1989, which means there are literally billions of 1989 D dimes in existence today, sitting in collections, circulation, bank vaults, coin rolls, and jars all across America. And while the vast majority of them are worth exactly 10 cents, there's always the possibility that another error coin from that production year is waiting to be discovered, maybe not a $45 million triple denomination mule, but perhaps a double die, or an off-center strike, or a missing clad layer, or any of dozens of other error types that could transform a 10-cent coin into a 5-figure, 6-figure, or even 7-figure treasure. The story of this 1989 D Roosevelt Dime is also a powerful reminder of the importance of education and knowledge in the coin collecting hobby because the gentleman who discovered this coin only recognized its significance because he had spent decades learning about coins, studying errors, attending shows, reading numismatic publications, and developing the expertise necessary to distinguish between a common coin and a potential treasure, and that's exactly why I'm so passionate about creating content like this and sharing it with all of you, because every person who learns to identify valuable coins is another set of eyes in the field, another potential discoverer of the next great numismatic treasure. Think about the journey this coin took from its creation in 1989 to its discovery in 2007 to its record-breaking sale. For 18 years, this $45 million coin was just floating around in the world, possibly changing hands hundreds of times, maybe sitting in someone's dresser drawer or piggy bank, completely unrecognized and unappreciated. And it makes you wonder how many other treasures are out there right now in similar situations, just waiting for the right person with the right knowledge to find them and realize what they've got. The 1989 D triple denomination mule has also had a significant impact on the broader coin collecting market because its record-breaking sale demonstrated that modern era coins can achieve values that rival or exceed the most famous classic rarities like the $1,804 or the 1913 Liberty nickel, and this has energized a whole new generation of collectors who realize that you don't need to hunt for centuries-old coins to find life-changing treasures, you just need to look carefully at the coins that are already all around you in everyday circulation. The technical analysis of this coin has also contributed greatly to numismatic knowledge because the experts who examined it had to develop new methodologies and apply new techniques to fully understand and document all the different errors present on the coin, and the detailed reports and studies that resulted from this analysis have helped advance the science of error coin authentication and have given collectors better tools and knowledge to identify significant errors in their own collections. It's worth noting that the $45 million price tag on this coin reflects not just its rarity and the dramatic nature of its errors, but also its condition, its provenance, the story of its discovery, the publicity surrounding it, and the timing of its sale at a moment when the rare coin market was strong and wealthy collectors were actively competing for trophy pieces to add to their holdings. Because value in numismatics isn't just about the coin itself, it's about the entire context and narrative that surrounds it, and this 1989 D dime had all the elements necessary to capture imaginations and command a record-breaking price. As we conclude this incredible journey through four extraordinary Roosevelt dimes worth $11 million, $18 million, $27 million, and $45 million respectively, I want you to take away several key lessons. First, valuable coins can be found anywhere at any time. You just need to know what to look for and be willing to examine the coins that come into your possession carefully and methodically. Second, education and knowledge are your most valuable tools in coin collecting because they enable you to recognize opportunities that others might miss. Third, condition matters enormously in determining value, so if you find something that might be significant, handle it carefully, don't clean it, and get it properly authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. And fourth, never underestimate the power of persistence and patience because the greatest discoveries often come to people who have been searching consistently and methodically over long periods of time. So here's my challenge to you as we wrap up this video: go right now and gather up every dime you can find in your house, your car, your workplace, your piggy bank, everywhere, and examine each one carefully, looking for anything unusual, any odd coloration, any strange design elements, any doubling or rotation or off-center striking, anything that looks different from what you'd expect to see on a normal dime. And if you find something that catches your eye, don't dismiss it, don't assume it's nothing. Take the time to research it, compare it to reference images online, maybe take it to a local coin dealer for a preliminary opinion, because you never know, you might just be holding the next great numismatic discovery, the next $45 million coin that everyone will be talking about for years to come. The four coins we've discussed today represent not just monetary value but the dreams, the passion, and the endless possibilities that make coin collecting one of the most exciting and rewarding hobbies in the world. And whether you're a seasoned collector with decades of experience or someone who's just now becoming interested in coins after watching this video, remember that every single coin tells a story, represents a moment in history, and has the potential to be far more valuable than its face value suggests. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through some of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever discovered, and remember, fortune favors the observant, so keep your eyes open, examine your coins carefully, and who knows, maybe the next video I make will be about your discovery of a multi-million-dollar treasure that was hiding in your pocket change all along. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing in the possibility that extraordinary wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places. This is the Coin Guy reminding you that the next fortune you find might be closer than you think.